That's what's happening where you are.
Thank you very much, Marie. Indeed, we're coming to you live from the Tamarind Hotel, where we are having quite the roundtable. We're talking about the Global Engineering Capacity Review of 2025, and this is being led by none other than the local engineering fraternity. We're looking at the Kenyan space and also the East African community space. Remember, the profession, the leaders and stakeholders within this particular value chain have been decrying a skills gap. So they're coming together to decide and to chart the way forward on how to improve, working environment, the ecosystem within the EAC, as well as on a global platform. Joining me is none other than the Engineers Board of Kenya CEO Registrar, that is Engineer Margaret Ogai. Thank you very much for making time. And we're crossing borders to my left, joined by the Registrar in Uganda, Ronald Mugwera. Thank you very much. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. All right. So now, this particular roundtable is basically a review that was coined in July. And we're looking at the findings. From where you sit, Madam Registrar, what are your expectations of this particular review?
Thank you very much. Yes, the Global Engineering Capability Review of 2025 did an assessment of all the inputs and the outcomes to making safe, resilient, and sustainable engineering processes, systems, and infrastructure. And so I think there are 115 different countries that were in that report. Kenya was amongst one of the countries. So this report has been prepared by the Royal Academy of Engineers together with the Lloyd's Register Foundation under the Engineering X project. And we are very proud partners. Myself, I participated in this. And after the launch, we are now doing the dissemination. And really, we want to have conversations to see where are the gaps, where are the good study cases that we might have globally, and to try and adapt our systems and processes so that we can improve on engineering practice and delivery of infrastructure within our country and the region. And so today we are quite a number of actors. We've called together this roundtable with all the actors in the engineering chain, right from the academia. We also have then the contractors, the engineers, and basically everybody who is involved in delivering of engineering services. And we are really looking forward to great and rich conversations. Thank you.
Very well said. So from where I sit, actually, from that particular quick summary, it indicates that all stakeholders are going to be participating in this roundtable. Now let's cross borders. What is the status report when it comes to engineering in Uganda, sir?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, first of all. I think when it comes to Uganda, we also have to thank the Royal Academy of Engineering UK. They have been supporting us on the same. And like we said, we are one region, and I'm happy they also considered not only Kenya, but in this global assessment, they considered quite a number of countries. And we are happy as Africa, we are not left behind. So when it comes to Uganda, we also have those challenges. We look at safety in engineering, the use of professionals. I think we have a challenge of using professionals in the country, but also sustainability. When we are designing these engineering systems, we look at sustainability. So the report actually covers most of the things that are also affecting us in this engineering space. And I'm also happy we are launching, it was launched, and we are here in Nairobi to discuss it and have it officially launched and disseminated to all our stakeholders.
All right. So when you talk about sustainability, especially when it comes to the engineering profession, we are also talking about emerging issues such as matters, climate and technology. From where you sit in the Kenyan scope, do we have the requisite capacities to handle these developments?
Yes, thank you. Yes, indeed. I think engineering is very wide, and the practitioners are trained across all the issues that you would need to consider as you come up with your design for safe engineering. So we are, and we do have, even when we look at government, we do have the National Environment Management Authority. We work agency, we work closely with them. We work with National Construction Authority ourselves. And when we come to the universities, of course, we are also delivering and training on environmental issues. So the curriculum is also something that we look at. How do also our students, by the time you have graduates, they have to meet some certain attributes so that they're able to design these systems that are safe and sustainable for all of us. So to me, as you're saying, there are emerging issues, amongst them climate change and the actions that we need to be taking. And these are part of the conversations that we shall also be having. How do we strengthen where we see there are gaps? Yeah, because definitely there are still going to be some gaps. I think in Kenya we're currently experiencing very heavy rainfalls, and we've seen in Elgeyo-Marakwet County where we've had floods, and we need to look at how do we mitigate these disasters to human beings as they live, and what engineering interventions we can make, all of us, to make things safe for our citizens, and I think the whole globe.
So where do we draw the nexus between academia and professionals when it comes to matters engineering, sir?
Academia and professionals, I see them as the same people. They support each other. All engineers actually are academias, and you'll not be surprised that when we finish engineering school, it is very easy to recruit academia from engineering. So we work hand in hand in Uganda, and I think also East Africa at large. We have that nexus or support between academia and the people in the field, the professionals who are working. So we normally exchange ideas. We have people from academia coming to industry, but also us in industry also go to academia to disseminate information, to share ideas and to share skills that are in the industry but may not be in academia. So we normally support each other, and then we come up with better solutions.
So the nexus between profession and academia, in as far as emerging issues, as your counterpart, registrar from Kenya, has said, is that we need to reinvent ourselves in this particular niche sector. Market readiness of engineers that we are channeling out vis-a-vis having professionals taking up engineering jobs within this East African scope. What is your take in regard to that aspect?
I think we are churning out engineers who can support us. Currently, if you look in the region, we are collaborating in the region, East African community, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and the other new countries of South Sudan, Congo, and even Somalia. So we are producing engineers, and we believe that the issues we have in our countries, our engineers we are producing are able to tackle them. We just need to give them space. We may not have skills maybe in Uganda, but through that cross-border and sharing experiences, we are able to pick on, if we have engineers who are innovative, who have done similar projects maybe in Kenya, we can always export across the borders. So in the region, we have our association, our MRA, that's the Mutual Recognition Agreement, which allows us to exchange engineers and services between one country to another. So we are able as a region to support each other and solve the emerging issues that could be challenging one country or the other.
Then does this mean that the Washington Accord has come into place at the right time, when we need it, Madam Mugai?
Yes, certainly. I think we are also training our engineers to be global engineers. So for us, I think as Kenya, we are very proud that we are now provisional signatory status. We attained it in June from the Washington Accord under the International Engineering Alliance. And this helps us to adopt, first of all, the quality of our engineering education, therefore now meets a global standard. We are training our engineers, as my counterpart from Uganda has said. We already have standards, but these were local standards. The differences are not much. In fact, most of the lecturers were saying it is just the focus now is more on the attributes and the outcomes, what you're talking about, readiness. And so we have 3 programs today which are accredited to the Washington Accord status, and we are now going through motions with all our universities that are training engineers to have all their programs converted to this standard. And one of the things is that you always use the industry to also develop the curriculum. That makes the relevance. And then I can assure you, in Kenya, we have trained over 30,000 engineers. And we currently have over 22,000 engineers in the universities. And this strong workforce actually is working globally and is meeting the standards that are required to deliver good engineering products. I think when you look at our infrastructure agenda as a country, what we are delivering, if you look at all the roads, the bridges, the telecommunication systems that we have, they're largely driven by our own local engineers, and they meet global standards. So we are very proud of them. I think what we are looking for is also now having that global recognition so that our engineers also can service beyond our borders, and also that even as we accept those from across the borders, we are also using the same standards. So I must say, we are very proud as Kenyans that for today we have the mutual recognition agreement within East Africa. So there's global mobility for our engineers. If you don't have a specific expertise, we have borrowed it. We have borrowed it even from within East Africa. I think the mining engineering programs that we needed to accredit, we have used somebody from Tanzania. And we are also able to also service the rest of the globe, the region especially, where they also need some skills. And I think this is the direction we are looking at. How do we have harmonization of standards so that your engineers, you don't have to take them for retesting or retraining. They just fit into the job. I think I want to just respond to one thing. We keep saying that our graduates, when they leave, they are not ready. The truth of the matter is that after we train our engineers, after they graduate for 3 years, they are supposed to work for 3 years in industry and then come for professional registration. And that is a good process because they have the academic qualifications that are required to deliver on the programs. So to me, they're ready. The only issue is that we have to give them the 3 years, relevant training, experience, and then that person is very, very productive and is able to run really big infrastructure programs for us. Thank you.
That is where the graduate engineers have actually taken issue, is that they're not getting placements, within the industry. How do we work to correct this? Let's hear from Uganda. That's the registrar Uganda. How do we address this issue? We have graduates that are ready academically, but then is the industry ready to give them opportunities to practice and get the requisite certification?
Thank you. I think we also face a similar challenge in Uganda. Many graduates are saying when they come out of university, they don't get placement. Some of them have decided to switch professions. You'll find a graduate who did engineering is doing Okada, boda boda. How can a graduate be doing engineering, doing boda boda? But I think the challenge we've been having, as a countries in the region, in the East African region, we need now a policy where we employ all these companies. We have many foreign companies, the contractors. I don't know that it's the same in Kenya, but you find a contractor is given a job in the region, then they bring their own professionals. They bring their graduates and they work here. So it should be a policy, not only in Uganda, but in the region, where we employ or compel on these big infrastructure projects to have as many graduates as possible taken up by these projects. But also as governments, we need to have a structured graduate training opportunity. We should be able to place all our graduates, at least majority of them, in the companies, government factories, or even private factories. Private sector and government work together, and in engineering, we all build together. So the more you train engineers in these sectors, the more we shall be able to utilize them as a region and as countries. So with the dedicated policy from government, of course, compelling the companies, but also government factories and engineering firms, we should be able to use these graduates and train them for our better region.
As you're talking about graduates, we still have a very low number of women in this particular profession. I know, Engineer Margaret Ogai, as a registrar, you have really been pushing to have more women come on board. And inroads, what inroads have you made, and where are the challenges still? What is still so difficult in having women in this, more women to join you from where you sit?
Thank you very much. I'll start by saying, yes, the numbers we have for engineers in Kenya, women engineers is, about 14% on our register, which is low. And we have done a lot of things. I think at the universities, there is hope. We're at about 30% today. So what we've done is we are looking at structures to support women in their careers. We have, through the Institution of Engineers of Kenya, we have a Women Engineers chapter. It's very active. And they're looking at mainstreaming gender policies because a lot, and I think these are some of the things we are doing. We are also looking at a call to all our stakeholders, I think, give women the chance. We find many times our young graduates, because of course they are the stages where they're also starting their families, there tends to be, the employers tend to shy away from them. But we think we need to give them those support systems to be able to still excel in their career. I think all is not lost. I'm sure you've seen that we are having also quite a number of women successful in engineering. And we are looking to countries like Malaysia, which I think have well and more than 50%, that 50% parity of the engineers are women and men. So we are also getting, and that is why I think we have also global collaborations to see who is getting it right and how do we improve. I think in Kenya it's more of a cultural issue and possibly a lot of, and also exposure. So we go back all the way to these days the high schools just to mentor the young students, because we've realized selection of courses is very, very important. If you drop out physics or mathematics, then you have already chosen yourself out of the pathway for engineering. And I think these efforts are making a difference, but a lot more needs to be done. I agree, and I think I would only call on our young ladies. Please, this is just a career like any other. This can be enriching. This is also an economic issue for you. If you can, consider engineering as a profession, and I think we're here to try and put all the structures that we need to make you succeed in that field. And again, let me say this, beyond the individual engineers who are women, we need the gender lens in how we design and deliver a safe, resilient and sustainable engineering infrastructure, because you need, what are the solutions you have for the transportation? There's a woman who's got to take her children who's got many short trips before she goes and settles her job in the morning. Do we cater for that in our mass transportation systems? So I think it's really a call for us in government. And I must say, let me also comment that in government we have an advisor for women rights, and she has been very instrumental in setting up committees as well, like the Women in Construction, just also looking at this issue, how do we support our women? And now we also have policies around the 30% that you have to give to women, youth, and persons with disabilities. So we also ensure through those systems that we are giving tenders to our women contractors and women engineering consulting firms. But there's still a lot, I must say, that needs to be done.
So from Uganda, is it a cultural issue or what is a challenge in Uganda, Engineer Ronald?
Yes, a cultural issue. It's not very different from Kenya. I think the way the African society is, I think ladies or women, they've been somehow the culture forces them to stay behind. Even those days when you're in primary school, you'll know that mathematics is supposed to be done by boys. It's like a culture. So a girl comes into school and they know mathematics is for boys. For us, we do other social things. So it's something that we need to build from down there. So it's been prevalent in the rest of Africa, especially this region. We need to train and let ladies or girls know that actually engineering can be done by them. Sciences are something we can all do. We are all equal and we are able to do it. But the same challenge we have in Uganda, just very few lady engineers. I think we have about 6%. So Kenya, you are doing much better. You have double. At 14, it's much, much better. But I think we can do better. Like Margaret has said, we need to start from the grassroots, give opportunities to ladies, give opportunities to girls so that they can do sciences and eventually they become engineers. Thank you.
Now, as we bring this to a close, I'd want to give my eminent persons here an opportunity to just tell us what the review is all about and what are the expectations. Let's start off with you, Madam Registrar, Engineer Ogai. What are your expectations once you disseminate this particular report or review, if you like?
Thank you. I'd really want to appreciate that, preparing a review, doing a report is one thing. And I think this is something I really commend the Royal Academy of Engineers for the dissemination part, where we are having discussions, in-depth discussions. What does this imply? What are the results going to imply for Kenya? How do we then start identifying which are the gaps that we have? Which are the best cases that we have so that we can strengthen? And I think we are going to end up, at the end of this, I'm looking forward to forward-looking policies, forward-looking programs that are going to close the gaps that we have to strengthen engineering. Engineering really is what is going to be, I think, catalyze development in our economies. And so it is something we are very glad. Let me also say that we have our Principal Secretary, Engineer Joseph Bogwa, from this PS Roads. He's be joining us. I think this is just to show that it's very important we also carry along our policy makers and all the practitioners, so that whatever we're discussing is something that is implementable and also gets ownership. So I think for me, this is really what I'm looking forward to, discussions that will bring us what are the outcomes we are looking for, what do we take forward, where do we really plug in, and in a very collaborative manner, both locally and, as you've seen, regionally, and also finally globally. I think it's also good to really appreciate that I think we've done this very closely also with the Lloyd's Register Foundation. We have a small study we are doing with them as Engineers Board of Kenya, which is also going to be part of the discussions, so that we are looking at just safety in construction. Mm-hmm. And I think this is something relevant to every citizen in the country. How do we make your lives better? By one, creating resilient, safe infrastructure for you to use as you do your daily work. Thank you.
Right. Very well said. I'd want to release the registrar, that's the CEO of the Engineers Board of Kenya, and make way to hear from the representatives from the Royal Engineers Academy to just give us a brief why this particular review and what its objectives are. So before we hear from the Royal Engineers Academy, let's have the final word from Uganda. That is the registrar from Uganda, Ronald Mugwara. What are your expectations as you disseminate this particular review, this report?
The expectations are that when we do this review and disseminate, we don't leave it on the day of dissemination. Sometimes when we disseminate these reports, we stop at that. The report was disseminated in Nairobi on this day, on 11th November. What next? So just like Margaret said, we need to take this forward. The policy makers, our politicians, our leaders, we need to pick from this study. When these studies are done, they help us to show us our gaps, where we need to improve, what we need to do. And this is a global perspective. So we are learning from other countries. So what I expect is that once we disseminate this report, policy makers should pick it up. As a region in East Africa, we should be able to harmonize the way we do things, safety and engineering, capacity building, and all the issues that have been picked out in this study. So the policies should be emanating from this, and we shall make our place a better place to stay.
Now, the report, or rather the review, is the subject matter of our conversation here this morning, where stakeholders within the engineering fraternity have come together. And we're not talking just about those who are playing within the Kenyan space, but also across the East African region. And the question is, why this particular report? Joining us is the Engineering Academy that has been charged with coming up with this. As we just bring to a close, what should we expect?
Hi, my name is Claire. I'm from the Royal Academy of Engineering in the UK. And I think we've brought this review here to Kenya because we've been working here for over a decade on supporting engineering education. So the Royal Academy of Engineering works on engineering in the UK, but we also believe very strongly in the importance of engineering to solving lots of our global challenges. And for that reason, we believe it's really important to collaborate with engineers internationally to support the profession and to develop it further. So with Lloyd's Register Foundation, we have developed this review. And now the importance for us of bringing it here is to, as my colleagues were saying, to begin to disseminate it, to see what it really means in practice on the ground. And we've brought it here because there's so much already going on here in East Africa and also in Kenya. And we wanted to hear from our colleagues here about how we can use this global data set that we've put together, which covers 115 countries. But now we want to bring it down and to see, well, how can it help add value to what people are doing on the ground?
Can you give us a sneak peek as to what the key objectives for you from where you sit, having interacted with this particular data? What are the areas that we really need to address?
So I think for me, coming out of the report, I think beyond the very basic one about the importance of engineering to our futures and also to growth in the future as well, but growth in a sustainable way, I think that the other thing that comes out very strongly from it is the need for this, which you've already been talking about, is about how can different sectors come together to really try and work together to improve the engineering ecosystem. So how do we get, both academia and industry and government working really closely together? And I think that's one of the key things that we hope comes out of this workshop, is how can we all move forward together to develop very concrete actions about how to improve engineering into the future. I mean, I think one of the things to highlight is that in the future, many of the engineers in the world will come from Africa. So it's really important for everyone, not only for Kenya and East Africa, but for the world, that we support the engineering profession here. And that we ensure that we all have the engineers we need for the future, who are not only constructing things, but constructing things safely and in a way which is good both for people and for the planet.
Very well said. As you've heard, we are coming to you live from the Tamarind Hotel, where stakeholders are going to be sitting in this particular roundtable to work on those issues that we have highlighted in our very short interview this morning. Just looking at the policy gaps as well as how to engineer for the future. And good things are coming out from Africa is that stakeholders now and experts actually believe that the next set of engineers is going to be coming from Africa, and more so, why not Kenya? These are the issues that are going to be addressed with stakeholders calling for a nexus between academia, government, as well as industry to chart the way forward for sustainable engineering. I'm Regina Manyara. I want to hand you over to Broadcasting House for normal programming. And in not too long, we're going to be crossing over to Uhuru Gardens, where the EAC MSME exhibition is currently underway. And today is going to be the official opening, where the chief guest is none other than President William Ruto, who is going to be also gracing this particular occasion, one that has not been done in so many years, and actually one out of the many unique aspects that Kenya is leading at the fore, leveraging on technology and how to bring MSMEs, address challenges like market access, as well as, how to improve their capacities, leveraging on technology going forward. We'll be keeping tabs on that. I want to hand you over back to Broadcasting House.